Imagine being married for only 3 years, yet spending the last 15 months of your life hidden inside a freezer by your own wife. It sounds unbelievable, almost impossible to believe. Yet this is the true story of Pang Hiwei, a once successful businessman. So what led to such a tragic ending? Was he so focused on making money that he neglected his family until their marriage fell apart? Or did he betray his wife, driving her into an uncontrollable rage? Many theories have been suggested, but only one reveals the truth. Today, Kanha will uncover that truth in this shocking true crime case. A wife who spent enormous amounts of money supporting multiple live streamers eventually hid her husband's body in a freezer for 15 months. But before we get into the details, don't forget to support our channel by leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you very much. Today's case took place at the Didong Duan apartment complex in Gu subdistrict, Suzhou, Jiangsu Province, China. The complex is located near the intersection of the West Ring Road and the historic Grand Canal. The central figure in today's story is Jia Dongli, who lived there. On March 9, 2023, Jia Dongli's mother visited her daughter's apartment to help clean the house. While cleaning the bedroom, she noticed a large freezer standing in the corner. It had clearly not been used for a long time, as it was covered with dust and surrounded by scattered trash. Wanting to help her daughter tidy up, she decided to clean the freezer. She began by removing the clutter on top, then peeled away the tape that had been tightly sealing the freezer door. As soon as she opened it, she saw frozen beef and lamb neatly stacked on the upper shelves. Beneath the meat was a large package. After taking the frozen food out, she was horrified to discover what appeared to be a human body inside the freezer. She hadn't imagined it. It was her son-in-law, Pang Hiwei, who had been missing for more than a year. Terrified by the gruesome discovery, she ran out of the bedroom and, trembling with fear, called her daughter, Jia Dongli, demanding that she return home immediately. Surprisingly, while her mother was in complete panic, Jia remained remarkably calm. The reason was simple. She was the one who had hidden the horrifying secret inside the freezer. Now that the secret had finally been exposed, Jia Dongli confessed to her mother that she had killed her husband and concealed his body inside the freezer. Following her mother's advice, she called the police and voluntarily surrendered. To better understand this case, let's first learn about Pang Hiwei. Pang Hiwei was born in 1991 in Huainan, Anhui Province, China. He was the second of 3 brothers. His parents built their livelihood from nothing, making a living by selling traditional pancakes while working tirelessly to raise their 3 sons. Pang Hiwei eventually became the most successful member of the family. After graduating from high school, he was admitted to a university in Suzhou. During his college years, he studied diligently, determined not to disappoint his parents. However, after graduating in 2015, his career did not begin as smoothly as he had hoped. After changing jobs several times, he eventually chose to work as a real estate sales agent. At first, his relatives and friends couldn't understand why someone with a university degree would choose that profession. They believed the job required little formal education and thought he could easily find something better. Pang Hiwei, however, quickly proved them wrong. At that time, Suzhou's real estate market was booming. Buyers from Suzhou and neighboring provinces were rushing to purchase homes, creating fierce competition. Properties sold almost as soon as they were listed, with interested buyers appearing immediately whenever a new home entered the market. Pang Hiwei entered the industry at exactly the right moment. Pang Hiwei entered the real estate industry at exactly the right time. With the housing market booming, many clients actively sought him out to buy properties, and his closing rate was exceptionally high. As a result, he quickly earned a substantial income and was soon promoted to sales manager. Not only was his career flourishing, but Pang Hiwei also found the love of his life. After joining the company, he met a coworker named Jia Dongli, and the two gradually fell in love. Jia Dongli was born in 1993, 2 years younger than Pang Hiwei, and was a native of Suzhou. People who knew her described her as quiet, introverted, and reserved. As they spent more time together, they realized how compatible they were, and their feelings for each other continued to grow. On February 20, 2017, they officially became a couple. Pang Hiwei frequently shared photos of his girlfriend on social media. He even added the first letter of her name to his social media username. Every month on the 20th, he posted a message celebrating another month of their relationship. During major holidays and special occasions, he prepared thoughtful and romantic gifts for Jia Dongli. Throughout their 17-month relationship, he documented many of their memorable moments and openly expressed his love and happiness online. In contrast, Jia Dongli rarely interacted with Pang Hiwei's posts. Her social media mainly focused on her daily life, entertainment news, and her favorite celebrities. Occasionally, she posted negative complaints and even insults directed at other people. The only post she ever shared about her boyfriend appeared near the end of 2018, when she uploaded a photo of 2 VIP tickets to a concert by Hong Kong singer Jackie Chung. Judging by the tickets, they had secured front-row seats. Her limited public display of affection accurately reflected how she treated Pang Hiwei in real life. In fact, Pang Hiwei's older brother had always been concerned about the relationship. He knew Jia Dongli was quiet, emotionally distant, and never made much effort to get along with her husband's family. Ever since they started dating, he had never once seen her smile. He believed his younger brother deserved someone who was warmer and more caring. However, because Jia Dongli was from Suzhou and came from a well-off family, he chose not to interfere. In 2019, Pang Hiwei used his savings and borrowed additional money from his parents to purchase an apartment in Suzhou. That same year, Jia Dongli became pregnant. On February 3, 2020, the couple officially registered their marriage, and later that year, their daughter was born. From then on, Pang Hiwei's social media no longer revolved solely around his love life. It became filled with heartwarming photos and stories about his daughter. He often shared precious moments, from her first days after birth to the sleepless nights spent comforting her back to sleep. The arrival of his daughter became an even greater motivation for him to work hard and provide for his family. Pang Hiwei decided that his wife should quit her job and stay home to care for their child, while he would become the family's sole breadwinner. At that time, he remained confident in the future of the real estate market. He resigned from his previous company and started his own real estate business, hoping to achieve even greater success. Thanks to years of experience, he managed the new company quite effectively during its early stages. However, everything changed in 2020. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, combined with other economic factors, caused China's real estate market to enter a severe downturn. Pang Hiwei's business suffered tremendously. As his income declined and financial pressure mounted, conflicts within the family became increasingly frequent. Jia Dongli, who had always been quiet and emotionally distant, became even more withdrawn. For example, after their daughter was born, Pang Hiwei's mother stayed with them for nearly a month to help care for the baby. Yet during that entire period, Jia Dongli never once addressed her as "mom." At first, Pang Hiwei believed the tension existed because they had not yet held a traditional wedding ceremony. He also worried that his wife might be suffering from postpartum depression. Hoping to strengthen their relationship, he arranged a formal wedding ceremony on October 1, 2020. After the wedding, the couple moved into Jia Dongli's family apartment at the Didong Yen residential complex, located about 3 kilometers from Pang Hiwei's company. Unfortunately, instead of improving, their relationship only continued to deteriorate. Only a few days after the wedding, they became involved in a fierce argument. The conflict reportedly began when Pang Hiwei entered the bedroom and woke up their daughter. Following the argument, Jia Dongli vented her anger on social media, posting a series of abusive and vulgar messages. The language she used made one thing painfully clear: she had little respect for her husband. By 2021, China's real estate market had fallen into an even deeper slump. The Suzhou government introduced stricter regulations on property transactions, forcing many real estate companies to shut down. Pang Hiwei's business was no exception. With the family's primary source of income gone, financial pressure mounted rapidly. At the same time, Jia Dongli developed an obsession with watching live streams. She spent money lavishly on virtual gifts for male streamers, enjoying the status of being their biggest supporter. While the family struggled to make ends meet, she secretly continued spending enormous sums online, placing an even heavier financial burden on the household. Hoping to improve their situation, Peng Hiwei and Jia Dongli decided to start an online business. On September 19, 2021, they established a media company with plans to produce food review videos and sell products through live streaming. Unfortunately, their content failed to attract many followers. Later, they accepted jobs that involved artificially increasing follower counts for other social media accounts, but even that generated little income. Around this time, Peng Hiwei finally discovered that his wife had been spending huge amounts of money on male live streamers. In October 2021, during a visit to his hometown, Peng Hiwei confided in his older brother that Jia Dongli had spent hundreds of thousands of yuan sending virtual gifts to male streamers. Jia Dongli defended herself by claiming that supporting live streamers was different from simply spending money on online games. She insisted that if she became a streamer's #1 fan, she would receive a VIP account, which she could later use to promote her own food review business. However, after spending an enormous amount of money, she eventually realized she had been deceived. Even more alarming, much of the money she had spent came from personal loans and high-interest borrowing. No one knows exactly how Jia Dongli managed to persuade her husband to forgive her, but Peng Hiwei ultimately had no choice but to sell the apartment he had purchased before their marriage in order to pay off her debts. His parents were deeply confused by his decision and became increasingly worried about the couple's financial situation. On November 24, 2021, Peng Hiwei returned to his hometown in Huainan, Anhui Province, to visit his family. Afterward, he went back to Suzhou alone. Around December 2021, his family suddenly lost contact with him. Peng Hiwei stopped answering phone calls and refused every video call from his relatives. No matter how they tried to reach him, he would respond only through text messages. His mother became increasingly worried and asked Jia Dongli what had happened. Jia Dongli claimed that after their business failed and debts piled up, Peng Hiwei had fled Suzhou to avoid his creditors and was too ashamed to contact his family. Since everyone already knew his business had encountered serious difficulties, they believed her explanation. Despite this, Peng Hiwei's social media account occasionally continued posting updates. Whenever family members asked where he was, the account would even send them a location. Meanwhile, Jia Dongli repeatedly reassured her in-laws, telling them not to worry because she was still in contact with Peng Hiwei. She promised that once he had repaid all of his debts, he would return home. Over the following 2 months, messages from Peng Hiwei's account began asking the family for money. The first message claimed that his rent was due and requested 30,000 yuan. The second stated that before disappearing, he had borrowed 43,000 yuan from his mother-in-law and asked his parents to repay the debt on his behalf. One excuse after another, the messages kept requesting more money. It is important to remember that Peng Hiwei's family was far from wealthy. Nevertheless, every time his mother received a message asking for financial help, whether it was a few thousand yuan or tens of thousands, she did everything she could to send the money, hoping that her son would one day return safely. In February 2022, during the Lunar New Year holiday, Peng Hiwei's parents traveled to visit his home. He was still nowhere to be found. Their young granddaughter kept crying for her father, leaving the elderly couple heartbroken. After having lunch and spending some time with the child, they quietly returned to their hometown. A few days later, Peng Hiwei's older and younger brothers received more messages from his account asking for money to repay housing-related debts. By then, 3 months had passed since anyone had last seen Peng Hiwei. His family finally realized that something was seriously wrong. Fearing that he might have fallen victim to a pyramid scheme or another criminal organization, they informed Jia Dongli and went together to the police station. On February 24, 2022, the police officially received a missing person report for Peng Hiwei. Over the following months, his family repeatedly visited the police station to ask about the investigation. However, Jia Dongli consistently obstructed the case. On one hand, she told investigators that Pang Hiwei had simply fled to another city to escape his debts. She insisted that she remained in regular contact with him and claimed that he also kept in touch with friends and former colleagues. On the other hand, she reassured her parents-in-law that Pang Hiwei was staying away only to spare them from worrying about him. With the police unable to uncover any new leads, Pang Hiwei's family reluctantly accepted the strange situation. They convinced themselves that he simply preferred communicating through text messages rather than phone calls. They even felt sympathy for Jia Dongli, believing she was left to raise their daughter alone while carrying the burden of her husband's debts. Pang Hiwei's older brother, however, became increasingly suspicious. Frustrated, he sent a message to Pang Hiwei's account, scolding him for not even calling home to let everyone know he was safe. At one point, he even questioned whether the person replying to the messages was actually Pang Hiwei. Despite the accusations, no phone call ever came. While the family continued waiting for Pang Hiwei to return, the Mid-Autumn Festival arrived in 2022. His parents planned to visit their granddaughter at Jia Dongli's apartment, only to learn from Jia's mother that her daughter had moved out 2 months earlier. The move had come without warning, not even Jia's own mother had been informed. When Jia left, she took only a television and a large freezer with her. Unable to contact her daughter afterward, Jia's mother became worried and reported the situation to the police. Officers quickly located Jia's new apartment in Xiangqing district. When her mother visited, Jia showed little warmth and refused to explain why she had suddenly moved away. Despite her mother's repeated attempts to persuade her to talk, Jia remained silent, leaving the older woman with no choice but to return home disappointed. After hearing what had happened, Pang Hiwei's parents became concerned for both their daughter-in-law and granddaughter. During their Mid-Autumn Festival visit, Pang Hiwei's older brother noticed the same freezer Jia had brought from the previous apartment. It stood in the corner of the room, plugged in and tightly sealed with layers of adhesive tape. He found it unusual but chose not to open it, fearing it might upset Jia. In October 2022, Jia Dongli unexpectedly moved back into the apartment where she and Pang Hiwei had once lived. During the 2023 Lunar New Year, she took her daughter to visit Pang Hiwei's parents. She assured them that nearly all of the family's debts had been repaid and confidently promised that Pang Hiwei would return very soon. The family was overjoyed. They sincerely hoped that the following New Year would finally reunite the entire family. Then, on March 8, 2023, 15 months after Pang Hiwei had disappeared, his family unexpectedly received another text message from his account. It claimed that he would be coming home the following month. But their happiness lasted only 1 day. On March 9, Jia Dongli's mother made a horrifying discovery. Pang Hiwei's body had been hidden inside the freezer standing in the corner of the apartment. After Jia Dongli surrendered herself, police immediately ordered a forensic examination. According to the autopsy, Pang Hiwei had died from poisoning combined with carbon monoxide intoxication. During questioning, Jia admitted that the murder had been motivated by ongoing family conflicts. Investigators soon discovered that every message supposedly sent by Pang Hiwei asking his family for money had actually been part of Jia Dongli's deception. Over the course of his disappearance, she had fraudulently obtained approximately 200,000 yuan from her parents-in-law, another 50,000 yuan from Pang Hiwei's younger brother, and even borrowed 120,000 yuan from her own parents under the false claim that she needed to repay her husband's debts. So where had all that money gone? The answer shocked everyone. According to investigators, Jia Dongli had spent much of it purchasing expensive virtual gifts for male live streamers. Many believe this obsession became one of the major factors behind the escalating marital conflict that ultimately ended in murder. While Pang Hiwei's body remained hidden inside the freezer, Jia Dongli became the #1 supporter of a male online singer. She sent him more gifts than anyone else on the platform. To thank her, the singer held private live streams for Jia and even included her name in the acknowledgements of one of his music videos. Her level of interaction with the singer far exceeded that of the second-ranked fan. Her account had also reached the platform's highest VIP level. Investigators estimated that achieving such a status would require around 30 million experience points, meaning she would have spent at least 300,000 yuan, roughly 1 billion Vietnamese dong, on virtual gifts. Internet users later discovered that the singer also lived in Suzhou. Their online interactions became frequent only after Pang Hiwei had already been killed. Ironically, the woman who had always appeared quiet and emotionally distant suddenly became cheerful and flirtatious whenever she interacted with the singer online. During the same period, Jia frequently posted messages expressing loneliness, heartbreak, and emotional suffering. Needless to say, those emotions were not directed toward Pang Hiwei, the husband whose body remained hidden inside her own home. Many online users speculated that Jia and the singer had been romantically involved. Facing intense public scrutiny, the singer's management company released a statement acknowledging that Jia had indeed sent him expensive gifts, but denied that the amount reached 300,000 yuan. They also stated that Jia and the singer became acquainted only after Pang Hiwei's death, insisting that he had no connection to the murder or to the couple's marital problems. When reporters later questioned the singer directly, he simply replied, "I didn't know she was married." Considering that Pang Hiwei had already discovered his wife's excessive spending on live streamers before he disappeared, and that she had accumulated enormous debts, it is possible that she had also been financially supporting several other male streamers. Meanwhile, Jia remained highly active on social media, posting carefully edited videos of herself eating at restaurants, playing games, traveling, and enjoying life. All the while, she continued living in the same apartment with her husband's body hidden inside the freezer. The level of deception, selfishness, and calculated cruelty she displayed left many people deeply disturbed. To many observers, it seemed as though Jia Dongli had completely lost her conscience. Why would someone who appeared so gentle on the outside commit such a horrifying crime? That question continues to haunt many people. Based on the available information, Pang Hiwei appeared to be a devoted husband, a loving father, and a dutiful son. He cared deeply for his daughter, respected his parents, and worked tirelessly to support his family. He even sold his own apartment to pay off his wife's debts. No evidence has ever emerged suggesting that he was unfaithful or financially irresponsible. Moreover, if Pang Hiwei had truly been responsible for the collapse of the marriage, it would be difficult to explain why Jia concealed his death for more than a year and continued deceiving his family for financial gain afterward. Those actions strongly suggest that Jia herself bore significant responsibility for what happened. Some observers have speculated that Jia had long since fallen out of love with her husband. Because the couple married after she became pregnant, the relationship may already have been under considerable strain. Pang Hiwei's business failure may have further deepened her dissatisfaction. According to this interpretation, Jia maintained the appearance of a happy family while privately feeling trapped and disillusioned. She increasingly escaped into the virtual world, where her obsession with live streamers remained hidden behind the image she carefully projected online. Some have theorized that Pang Hiwei eventually discovered this hidden side of her life, and that Jia feared the truth would be exposed. However, it is important to note that this remains only one possible interpretation of the motive. While Jia confessed to the killing and investigators documented the financial deception that followed, only Jia herself knows the full reasons behind her actions. On December 21, 2023, the Suzhou Intermediate People's Court held the trial for the case. Following the hearing, Pang Hiwei's family publicly declared that they would never forgive Jia Dongli. They demanded the maximum possible punishment and insisted that she be required to repay all the money she had fraudulently obtained from the family. This raised the question that many people were asking. Would Jia Dongli be sentenced to death? Although Jia voluntarily surrendered to the police, that alone did not guarantee a reduced sentence. In China, there have been numerous cases in which defendants who turned themselves in were still sentenced to death because their crimes were considered exceptionally cruel and beyond forgiveness. Generally speaking, mitigating factors may include voluntary surrender, genuine remorse, significant cooperation with investigators, or other legally recognized circumstances. In some cases, compensation to the victim's family or forgiveness from the victim's relatives may also influence sentencing, depending on the applicable law and the specific facts of the case. In this case, however, Pang Haiwei's family made it clear that they would not forgive Jia Dongli. They even refused compensation, insisting that justice be served for Pang Haiwei. According to prosecutors, the killing appeared to have been intentional. Investigators alleged that Pang Haiwei died from poisoning and carbon monoxide intoxication, and the subsequent concealment of his body suggested efforts to hide the crime. In addition, Jia continued deceiving Pang Haiwei's family for many months after his death, using his identity to obtain money. The prosecution argued that these actions reflected planning, concealment, and continued fraudulent conduct after the homicide, all of which were important factors for the court to consider when determining the appropriate sentence.